Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Next in Commerce podcast, where we invite top experts to discuss digital acceleration, winning strategies, innovation, and scaling products. Today in Next in Commerce, we're going to discuss, obviously, AI. But then today we're going to focus specifically on something that is beyond the hype. And we're going to discuss the role of AI in B2B design with nobody else but my today's guest, the head of Product Design B2B at Kaufland, Markus Gebka. Hello, Markus.
Hi, happy to be here.
Great to have you here. How are you today?
I'm fine. The weather's okay-ish, but it's Germany, so what do you expect? It's fine. Yeah. Good morning today. Let's see how what the day brings.
Great. Yeah, we're getting there to the spring, still a couple of months. But then, Markus, again, thank you very much for being today with us. I would like to kick off this episode with making sure that the audience can get to know you a little bit better. Mm-hmm. And this is why I'd like to, first of all, discuss your role. And can you tell us all how you define the role of product design in marketplace like Kaufland?
Okay, like you pointed out, my current role is head of product design for the B2B team of the Kaufland online marketplace, and been doing that now for a few years already. I think it's my 7th year or something since I joined initially as a senior product designer myself, and then as they say, work my way up, and now I have this really huge responsibility, but also fun challenge to manage the design team that is working on the B2B products that we provide for our sellers and partners and whatnot.
Okay, happy 7th year anniversary in that case.
Not yet, not quite
not
yet.
Okay.
Almost.
This year.
But thanks. I'll remember that. Thanks. So yeah, you asked about the role of the product designer generally in B2B in Kaufland e-commerce. So I would say we are, it's a role where people wear a lot of hats at the same time, depending on the context in which you're operating in. So basically, we're not traditional, of course, UI designers, UX designers, although there's parts of it in that role. We're not like, some of us know code, some of us have a real knack for service design aspects of the job. Of course, we're not like fully fledged service designers, but we always try to play this aspect into our work and how we collaborate. And it's really heterogeneous in a way that's set up, basically, So obviously, classical setup, we're working closely with PMs and engineering to get things done. Sometimes the product designer is pretty much autonomous, working all by themselves on things, taking on a little bit more of the business side of things as well. So we expect from all product designers that they're really also business savvy. It's nobody here that would basically just, you take care of the business. I just design a layout that I like, and you tell me if it's good or not. Mm-hmm. This is generally not how we operate. So tough to really put it in a concise sentence, but I think you get the gist of it. So this is how we do it.
Right. And it doesn't sound like a piece of cake, I must say. It sounds like there's a lot of skills over there to have in order to be successful. And how would you say that the design influence key business metrics in the customer experience?
Yeah, generally we don't separate ourselves from that. So I think everything we're doing must have a positive net effect on the bigger picture, so to speak. But in this context, what we're trying to achieve is basically, hey, you wanna do something on a marketplace. We try to make it as smooth as possible. So a lot of the quicker you can start selling, the better, right? So these are the kind of challenges that we're looking into. These are the things that we are also kind of trying to effectively track. How effective are our solutions in the day-to-day work situation of the people that are trying to do business with us or through us, more to the point. So yeah, we were tracking UX metrics widely. How robust is the platform? How clear are the things that we've been shipping to people that are working with them in various contexts? It's also, again, a really heterogeneous field. Not every seller operates the same way. And we're trying to account for that.
Okay. And speaking of challenges, because I think you mentioned and touched upon that a little bit, what do you think are the biggest challenge in design in e-commerce in 2026, and what trends you're most excited for? Let's
Okay.
start just though.
Okay. I think if you have asked that broadly, you cannot not mention AI.
Of
Of
course.
course, of course. So I mean, that is in itself already a big challenge. Not so much something that's now has to do them with customers directly, but how to cut through the noise, basically. Because I mean, every week or so, there's gazillion posts out there declaring this, that, or this is that, or this is
Yeah.
gone, or we don't need this anymore. So keeping it constructive and cutting through the noise is definitely going to be a challenge. And also, I mean, yeah, there will be people that are like having the notion that with AI you can just do something that is good enough, and then you have to do the convincing job of like, hey, good enough actually isn't. You know, it's we need
Okay.
to be moving beyond that or past that. And this is definitely one of the many challenges around that topic. How to get people that are maybe overly excited back to reality in a way.
Okay.
Trends that I see though that I really like, also massively pushed by AI generally, is I see a huge comeback of design ops, for example, because suddenly people
Okay.
realize, oh, and you know, back in the day when you were trying to convince somebody like, hey, I need a team to maintain the design system, I need some design ops experts in the team, and there was always this calculation going on. Okay, what are they contributing to the business? You know, is this actually really GP relevant, whatnot? You had to be a really good negotiator to get that signed off by the people that needed to, you know, sign it off.
Right.
These days, it's like, oh, our systems are not really AI ready. How can we do that? Well, design ops, you know.
Design
so,
ops.
so it's kind of like a full circle thing. This is something that I think can be positively leveraged by teams if they play it the right way, or like if they do it the right way and make that connection clear. So this is something that I really like. So this is more industry speaking. You know, it's not so much within the product. But if you want to know about that, let me know.
Of course. I mean, it's an open question, but it's a very interesting observation, and thank you for sharing it. If there's any like exciting trend for you in the industry, like in a market, then you can
Yeah.
add that on that as well.
Well, I think there's so many moving parts that I
Right.
guess anybody who's like, you know, sticking neck out of the window, making some sort of like prophecy or whatever, I don't know if those takes are going to age well. It's really volatile still. What I would love to see is in B2C context, for example, is like more personalization, like hyper contextualization, even like there's more traffic coming from straight, you know, like conversations and whatever tool people are using, you know. So how can you leverage that? I think that's quite intriguing, to be honest. On B2B, even harder to say. I think also B2B is a slightly different context where you need to be really careful with what you're doing with AI. Just, you know, adding some AI functionality is probably not going to cut it. You have to integrate it way more. It has to feel almost like not there to be effective, you know. And then trust. Am I trusting AI enough to base my business decisions on that? I think is also something that you need to tackle first. But in theory, also lots of potential that is just waiting to be, you know, tapped into, I guess.
Okay, that's interesting as well. And but that's actually a nice segue to my next question, because I'm just curious about tools and technologies that are, you know, like most essential for designers in e-commerce today. And I think you started touching upon this topic as well a little bit. So what would you add there?
I think everything around discovery synthesis is really powerful. Although it comes also with like some dangers you should not ignore. But in theory, okay, how can you tap into like the knowledge base that your discovery team has already acquired more effectively, more integrated into your current work? You know, do you have to reach out to a person now asking questions, or can you basically just Slack a question to you know, some sort of bot that is giving you the answer, like based on what we found out from this and that interview? or this customer feedback, this and this is a thing, and you should be looking out for that. I think that is quite powerful. Anything that is 10xing yourself is potentially interesting. By that I mean, what I see less and less is Figma standalone design work.
Right.
It's still a thing. It's still not something that is, I think, something we can do 100% absolutely without. But I think the role of it will shift dramatically. A couple of months ago, it was very Figma heavy, working on the canvas, and then I think this is getting more and more kind of replaced, to be honest.
Okay. That's super interesting as well. Does that already change your approach within your team towards how you design and what tools you're using? Okay.
Yeah, certainly. It's like I said, I mean, it's going to be less and less Figma. Obviously, there's still things. We're still maintaining the pattern library we have in Figma, because it's still kind of the base for what what we are or what we're using in other contexts now, right? So you feed your pattern library via MCP into, for example, Claude or whatever, So it's still for rule setting there, but we see more and more vibe-coded prototypes for demo purposes. So to actually create something that can be experienced, instead of something where you had a static mark. Great example. Imagine somebody's asking you like, hey, for this and this new service, we would like to have some sort of landing page, and the designer would be, hey, I want to go out there, I want to create something a little bit more flashy, In the past, in Figma, you would create something like a static mock of this, and maybe something broken down into a Figma prototype that could transmit the idea, but not really make it clear. So you would still be depending on other people's perception and understanding of this idea and suggestion, right? So imagine, for example, hey, I want to have a dotted map on this landing page, and it should be like, the world map creating of dots, and it should be responding to my cursor when I hover on that stuff. It's just making stuff up now, but you get the idea.
I like it.
In Figma, it would be like, yeah, map C, and then you could hover on it, and it would make a transition into, you could build it, but it would be hell. But you would probably break it down to something that's still rather static, and then somebody would looking at it, not really get it, and be like, I don't know if it's worth the effort. Now you can basically just do it. It takes minutes. You can show it, not just how you somehow imagine it, but actually how it would work. If you do it with something that is directly implementable in the code, also the feasibility question is not longer a thing. This is how things are now. This is the leverage we instantly felt, basically. This was like, awesome. This is just straight up game changer for these kind of situations, amongst other things, but this is a really concrete thing.
This is a big shift indeed. And in terms of time, if you were to compare how much time it used to take to create such a prototype, or generally prototyping, how much time it took in the past and versus now, what would you say?
The example that I just gave, definitely, minutes versus an entire day. And the entire day would basically get you somewhere close, but not there, right? But also there's another side of things where, for example, we were pretty sufficient in assembling things from our Figma pattern library in Figma, so we could basically churn out screens like also within minutes, within the things we had, so we were always really invested in having a clean house and having it as a work optimized tool. That's how it was not just a documentation thing, it was also like, hey, this is our toolkit, right? So this was also really quick. The thing where AI kind of backfires, and it's actually starting to cost you the moment where you care about a detail, a specific thing, and if you really want to get it close to what you have on, for example, production, or you really want it to resemble a specific thing, sometimes you have to fight the AI still. So tough to say. I think we have to observe it a little bit more. Obviously, there's going to be changes along the way on what models are doing and what they will cost. So for me, still, we're excited about a few things. We're also cautious about a few things. I think we have a rational approach to this. But yeah, for certainly. One thing you asked me, bottom line, what's changed? Less Figma prototypes, less screen slideshows, but more actual vibe coded prototypes for sure.
Okay. Easier to digest and to present ideas, definitely.
Yeah.
And what about research? Do you has AI changed your approach towards research?
In a way, yeah. I think also not as yeah, we have some tools in place that are doing exactly the thing that I addressed earlier. Like, hey, I want to have easier access to answers, easy access to answers to my questions right now. This is something that we're already using. We still have a discovery team, research team that I shout out to these guys. I love them. They're doing such an awesome job. They're really good at what they're doing as well. I don't want to miss them. No AI could change that. And maybe their role will shift. I can't say. That's for them to decide. But how to enable us harnessing what they have found out is going to be is for sure on their radar. That's something that you need to tackle.
Okay, I think everybody's roles shift in a way these days. So I think the shift is inevitable. And if we started speaking about the team, about the researching team, about product design team, I'm wondering what are your methods, ways of building and growing a product design team?
That's my personal conviction, by the way. I don't know if it's not like a company-wide thing, but if you ask me for my personal view on that, I want to have a balanced team. I just accept that people are not the same. One person is different than the other. Skill sets are never going to be the same. So I might as well just look for what I need in my team overall and then try to balance that. So you will have one person that is really good at working with data. Cool. You will have one person that is better on creating visuals and maybe less with data. So I overall want to have every specific job or role or task kind of accomplishable within the team. This is something that I'm looking for. So yeah, if you imagine it like some sort of diagram, every slot needs to be filled by some person. Nobody needs to do it all. Nobody needs to be able to do everything the same way as like maybe the domain expert in some ways, but this is something that I'm truly invested in, So yeah, this is you also then have to, and for me, that's also a big thing. It's not just a one-way thing. It's not I hire you into my team and you do the work and here's your paycheck and thanks. I always care deeply about everybody's ambition and aspirations in the team as well. For me, it's like at some point somebody might leave the team after a couple of years. It's going to happen, and I would be super happy if they leave my team and say that like, yeah, hey, I progressed in this team. I learned things. I've developed into one thing that I really wanted to develop. This is something that's all really care about.
Okay, and do you think that what's happening with AI and how it's accelerating now, do you think that's going to have some impact on the skills that are going to be more or important or less important in the future for people working with AI?
Well, one thing that we always wanted or were looking out for, even pre-AI, was like a growth mindset. You have the hunger and the appetite to just get better and better at what you're doing and learn new things. You should always be open to seek out new things to just do your job better and never really settle. It sounds anxiety inducing, but that's not the way I mean it. It's like, hey, you have every member in the team has this hunger to just like, oh, that's new. Maybe that's something to improve overall, like, collaboration in our team. Everybody's invited to participate and make things better. And I see it no different with AI. Obviously, if we would hire now, it would play a role in like, hey, have you already experienced this? Are you willing to looking into this? Or, maybe if we're looking for having a real push into this capabilities, we would look for somewhat of an expert. But today, really, what is an expert in this field? Everything's still moving. Or if somebody would be like, yeah, I'm an AI native designer, it sounds fishy almost.
True.
So.
That's true. And it's hard to stay updated as well, because every day something new comes up. The models are being updated. So your information, your skills quickly become outdated as well in a way.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just look at Claude Design, recently launched. I mean,
exactly.
Before that, we were looking into how to integrate it, Claude generally into our workflows and stuff like that. If Claude Design would have then launched on Friday and be perfect from that day on, everything would have been like, yeah, okay, cool. We don't need it anymore, So I think if you would ask me, I mean, it reminds me also of having kids, I don't know if you have kids. I have 2 kids right now.
Okay.
And there's also a moment where people just step into your life and tell you how to do things.
Okay. You can imagine,
and then you have to just decide for yourself, like, hey, this is the one source that I'm looking into, and this is what I believe, or this is what I the rest needs to be blocked out in a way. I think if you want to kind of keep your sanity and not be driven by FOMO, you just have to sometimes just ignore that stuff, and let the dust settle a bit, and then find out what works. I think currently, honestly, the differentiator for company is not who has adapted fastest, but it's going to be about a lot of how well integrated is it and how robust is that, and how actually is it making a change, instead of just like, yeah, I picked up the first tool and now I'm doing this and it's all this and nothing else matters anymore,
It's more about how than what, in a way. Basically. Okay.
For sure.
Okay, and I love the analogy. It's just about stopping the noise and focusing on real music in a way.
Yeah.
So I completely hear that, and I'm wondering if you can, like, looking at that, say where is AI actually delivering the real value? Because you mentioned that there is a lot of noise, but then where would you say it does bring value in your everyday design process today?
Like I said, the vibe coding aspect definitely makes things instantly experienceable in a way. That is something that is definitely something you could leverage already. It doesn't have to be almost, I mean, if you treat it as a sketch, because basically that's what it is, maybe a PM is vibe coding something, it fine. Also, product manager was bringing scribbles before and showing us, and if this was a valid suggestion, we'd be like, yeah, hey, that's the best idea, let's go for it. I would treat these vibe coder prototypes no different, to be honest. Automizing the kind of tedious and boring stuff is also a big changer, like organization, writing PRDs, maybe. We have some helpers that we are using, like some tools, gems, whatever, whoever was using what tool at the time, that are just making us more productive, and that are taking the boring bits of everyday work kind of away from us. Those are big wins, They sound small, but they actually make a difference,
Yeah, they save your time for more ambitious work, definitely. And I think that learning with AI, any new skill these days, is just way easier than it used to be. And it's not only about product design. I think it's about any skill. If you want to learn a language as of tomorrow, AI can actually help you a lot with that. So it's easier to pick up things these days.
Yeah, I was just recently, I mean, I was never big on JavaScript, for example. And I just recently, for one demo, I was like building a canvas prototype, or a prototype that was utilizing canvas particle animations and stuff like that. I've never did that before. I mean, I obviously have huge respect. This is 100% not production ready, or should ever see, any real code base, but for getting the point across and pulling people along with you and like selling ideas, definitely really helpful.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much for that as well. Now I'm gonna do the quick questions. So how the quick question work is that I'm gonna just throw a question, and if you can throw an answer, that's great. And so, are you ready?
I don't know. Let's try.
let's try. Yeah. So let's stop a little bit on AI and e-commerce, and tell me what's a complete BS in this area for you.
Replacing entire professions. I mean, you can vibe code, you can vibe design, but it's not going to change what fundamentally, for example, design is. No AI is going to change that. That's not going to change what discovery is. Also, no AI tool is going to change that. That's in my book, absolute, if you say so, BS.
Okay, good. And when you're looking at underrated leadership skill, in your opinion, what would it be?
Shielding the team. That's just protecting them, protecting their time, protecting their mental peace. So especially in these times, we were talking about FOMO, how to prevent your team from getting FOMO so much that they run in danger of burning out or get like fears of, oh my God, just change management in that way is really something that I was worried about a lot, honestly.
Okay. And the last one, your favorite trick for getting teams' engagement?
I crack a silly joke or whatever. Most likely, I don't know. I mean, we have meetings. I usually try to step back a bit and let the team do the talking. But just I'm kind of a silly guy. I guess I can't fight it. You will hear, if you work with me, you will hear some dad jokes for sure.
Great. I mean, a good laugh always bring people together. So I'm not surprised that this works probably each time. No. Beautiful. Markus, thank you very, very much for this episode. I wish you a wonderful day. I hope the sun comes out, and speak to you in the future. Thank you.
It's been my pleasure. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.